Afternoon, folks, and welcome to another major attack Phish tips. I'm going to talk about the Microsoft Exchange attack that was patched by Microsoft in a release on March the 2nd this year, 2021. I was going to do this in conjunction with someone with extensive incident response experience, but unfortunately they're busy dealing with incidents and helping to respond to those. So what have we got? We have a series of 4.0 days in Microsoft Exchange that were discovered in the on-premises versions 2010, 10, 13, 16, and 19. The online Office 365 version is not impacted. The initial one of these vulnerabilities allows an unauthenticated attacker to get access to the system, and that chain with the other three can lead to server hijacking, data theft, backdoors. The classic version of this leaves several web shells on the environment, and in general, very unpleasant consequences as part of it. The impact of this is very, very large. The estimates are between 20,000 and possibly up to 60,000 businesses impacted. And again, the initial impact is not over email, so if you have a Proofpoint, a Mimecast, or any other email filtering solution in front of it, you are not protected. It's over this 443 SSL vulnerability. The attacks started at a minimum in early 2021. CISA is advising that if there's any indicators of compromise back as far as September of 2020, the organizations take those systems offline. The initial attribution of this attack is to a group that Microsoft labels Hafnium, which is attributed to the Chinese organizations. So this is a nation-state level attack. It is at a very broad base, and we've seen organizations of all sizes impacted here, and the researchers are definitely seeing that chain be, or those impacted organizations be very, very widespread. The bad news is that now we are also seeing Microsoft talk about other groups impacting this who are not looking after that data theft, not looking after compromising those email inboxes as the initial Hafnium group are, but could be looking at some of the more typical ways of monetizing those breaches. And to my mind, that is a strong suspicion for extortionware as they go lateral. So it's very, very serious, very, very widespread, and very high impact. What do we need to do about it? At a minimum, everybody should be patching their systems. However, patching does not remove the impact of the other vulnerabilities that have already happened. And if you're patching now, and we're March the 8th, as I'm recording this, then it is fairly possible, if not probable, that there has already been some attempt to compromise your systems, possibly successful. That means that you also have to do, at minimum, forensic investigation of those systems. Both CISA and Microsoft have published on GitHub and in other places tools that you can use to investigate if you have been compromised and if any of those common symptoms are there. The Microsoft Emergency Response Tool has been updated to reflect those, and Defender and other endpoints, as well as systems like the various next generation firewalls like Palo Alto and Fortinet are also updating for content. If there's any signs of an exploit at this point, then it is wise to go to your incident response plan and either go to full forensic investigation or, at a worst case, clean reinstall, since it's possible that these attacks, well, probably these attacks have been happening since at least January. Velexity, the group that reported them to Microsoft, started talking about this from January the 6th, 2021, as we said earlier. It is also possible that it is just an exploit, but there's an automated scan going on, given that huge number of systems potentially exploited. It's likely, and the data compromise hasn't happened. That's not something I would ever recommend somebody bet on or count on. And I would say that if you do those initial infects, if you do see any signs of those compromise, please go to your incident response plan, do the forensic investigation, validate what's going on, and make a choice based on your business needs and your risks on how you're going to respond to this, because you have somebody with a foothold and a persistent foothold inside your network, inside any of your perimeter defenses, and on a highly sensitive system given that how much data is exchanged via email. So it's not great news. I've said to many people I used to like being able to spread the fear, uncertainty, and dread, and now that people didn't understand it or see it, have their heads in the sand. Today I'm really sad to be recording this one, just given the level of the severity of this data. But I hope this helps some people make some better responses, advise some customers on some better responses, and advise some of our co-workers and colleagues on some better responses. Thanks, everybody. I'm sure it's going to be a really, really busy week. Take care.